Most parents believe their neighborhood is safe, a place where kids ride bikes in the street, run between houses, and play freely with their friends. But sometimes, the greatest danger isn't a stranger. Sometimes it's someone the entire neighborhood trusts. This is the story of a quiet Florida neighborhood and a disturbing investigation that began with a 5-year-old girl revealing a secret she had been too scared to tell. On the evening of April 24th, 2022, a worried mother in Palmetto, Florida, called 911. Her voice was shaking. Earlier that night, while getting ready for bed, her 5-year-old daughter had suddenly started crying. The little girl told her mother, "I have a secret, but I can't tell you." The mother gently reassured her, "You can tell me anything." After a long pause, the girl finally spoke. She claimed that earlier that day, during a birthday party in the neighborhood, a man had taken her into a room and done something that made her uncomfortable. The man wasn't a stranger. He was someone the family knew. A neighbor, a father whose children played with the other kids in the area. Concerned by what she heard, the mother contacted the police. Deputies from the Manatee County Sheriff's Office were dispatched. But instead of pulling directly into the driveway, they parked down the street. They didn't want to alert anyone in the neighborhood yet. If the child's statement was accurate, they needed to handle the situation carefully. Inside the home, officers sat down and gently spoke with the 5-year-old girl. They asked simple questions about the party and the neighborhood. Then they asked her about the man she mentioned. The child explained that the man had taken her into a room and closed the door. When asked what happened next, she described behavior that raised serious concern for investigators. She also said the man had told her not to tell anyone. The child identified the neighbor as Christopher Thompson. After the conversation, deputies stepped outside to discuss the situation. The child's description had been detailed and consistent. Because of the seriousness of the allegation, investigators followed standard protocol. The girl was taken for a forensic medical examination, and clothing she wore during the party was collected as evidence. Meanwhile, investigators began looking into the man she had identified. The next day, detectives located 44-year-old Christopher Thompson at his job with the Manatee County Utilities Department. Officers approached him and asked him to step down from his equipment. Thompson appeared confused. He kept asking what was happening. The detectives did not explain immediately. Instead, they placed him in custody and transported him to the sheriff's office for questioning. At the same time, other deputies went to Thompson's house. His wife, Charlotte, answered the door. She was clearly surprised to see officers there. They asked her to step outside while they waited for a judge to approve a search warrant. Charlotte kept asking what was going on. Officers explained that detectives wanted to speak with her husband and that the investigation involved serious allegations. She remained outside while deputies secured the house. At the sheriff's office, detectives read Thompson his rights. They asked if he was willing to answer questions. Thompson agreed. Investigators asked him about the birthday party and the children who had been playing in the neighborhood that day. Thompson explained that several kids had gone in and out of his home while playing. He said his own children were also there. When detectives asked whether he had taken the 5-year-old girl into a room, he denied it. He also denied showing her anything inappropriate. However, investigators told him that another child had seen him enter a room with the girl and close the door. Thompson continued to deny the allegations. Meanwhile, detectives spoke with Charlotte. They explained that a child had made serious allegations involving her husband. Charlotte was shocked. She told investigators she had been at the hospital with her grandmother during the party and had no idea anything unusual had happened. Investigators also told her they needed to speak with their children as a precaution. Charlotte insisted she had never seen any behavior from her husband that suggested something like this. The detectives had already begun looking deeper into his past. During their investigation, detectives discovered that Thompson had been involved in previous incidents years earlier that raised concerns. Some of those cases involved allegations of inappropriate behavior in public places. Although those situations had not resulted in charges at the time, investigators considered them relevant to the current case. When detectives brought up these past incidents during the interview, Thompson became uncomfortable and eventually asked for an attorney. At that point, the questioning stopped. Thompson was formally arrested. Once the search warrant was approved, detectives began searching Thompson's home. They focused primarily on electronic devices. During the search, Investigators discovered digital storage devices containing a large number of illegal images involving minors. Authorities also found material suggesting that some images had been secretly recorded. These discoveries significantly expanded the scope of the investigation. Detectives began identifying potential victims and interviewing families. Many of the children involved had no idea they had been recorded. As the investigation continued, prosecutors filed multiple charges against Christopher Thompson. These included serious offenses related to exploiting minors and possessing illegal images. Facing overwhelming evidence, Thompson eventually pleaded guilty. In state court, he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. In a separate federal case, he received an additional 6 years sentence, which will run concurrently with the state's sentence. After serving his prison term, he will remain under supervision for the rest of his life. The case deeply affected the entire community. Neighbors struggled to understand how someone they trusted could hide such disturbing behavior. But the investigation began because one small child found the courage to speak up. Her decision to tell her mother the truth helped uncover crimes that might otherwise have remained hidden, and it serves as a powerful reminder to parents everywhere. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is listen when a child says they have a secret.